Welcome to Trusting After Trauma, Season 9, Redefining Relationships After Parental Narcissistic Abuse. I'm your host, Pi Venus Winslow. Our goal is to provide information and resources to educate and empower viewers to recover from childhood trauma and narcissistic abuse so they can reclaim their happiness, health, and personal power. Our speakers specialize in supporting others through their unique expertise and offer valuable insights, tools, and inspiration to help viewers find the courage and motivation to change their lives. I'm super happy to have Candace Plattor back with us again for another season of Trusting After Trauma. Candace Plattor is a registered clinical counselor with over 30 years of experience specializing in helping families navigate the painful realities of loving someone struggling with addiction. She is the author of the award-winning book, Loving an Addict, Loving Yourself, the top 10 survival tips for loving someone with an addiction, and the founder of Love with Boundaries, a counseling and therapy approach used by families around the world. Candace brings a rare and powerful perspective to her work. She is also a person in long-term recovery herself, with 38 years clean and sober. This lived experience, combined with decades of clinical practice, allows her to speak with both deep empathy and clear practical insight. Her work focuses on a question many families struggle with. How do you love someone with an addiction without losing yourself in the process? Candace assists families to understand the critical difference between helping and enabling, guiding them to move from loving someone to death to loving someone to life through healthy boundaries and compassionate support. Through her counseling, teaching, and speaking, Candace has helped thousands of families worldwide reclaim their lives while supporting their loved ones in healthier ways. So, Candace, I'm so glad to have you back. Hello, hello.
Hi, Pi. It's so good to be back. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, yes. We have had many conversations about addiction and narcissism. And so, for our viewers who are watching today, how do narcissism, addiction, and manipulation interplay with each other?
I mean, is there any way that they don't? Narcissism is a personality disorder, and it has at its roots self-absorption. Self-absorption. So the narcissist is going to be self-absorbed pretty much all the time. That's what this personality disorder is about. So when you look at addiction and you look at people who are choosing to stay in addiction, I mean, I look at addiction as a choice. It has it has some components of a disease, but I don't call it a disease because we do have power over it. We can stop. Anybody can stop. I stopped. So I know that we can stop this. Um, but addicts are also self-absorbed people. And aside from narcissists, they're probably the most self-absorbed people while they're still using
Hmm.
whatever it is they're using, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, which has become quite a problem these days,
Hmm.
eating disorders. It doesn't matter what the addiction is, they're going to be self-absorbed. So you've got narcissism, you've got the self-absorption of the addict,
Hmm.
and both groups know exactly how to manipulate others so that they can get what they want.
Yeah. Yes.
Addicts are very smart people, and they figured this out early in life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was definitely my experience. We were talking a little bit before I hit the record button, and I wanted to talk about this because that was certainly my experience growing up. My father was an alcoholic and my mother was a narcissist, and our home was manipulation central, 24/7. And that's how I grew up.
And so, as the loved one, if you want to call it that in your case, um, did you also learn how to be manipulative as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that
So,
was what those were my role models.
yeah. So it went around and it came around and it went around and it came around. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's basically what happens in all families with addiction in it. Um, it happens in families with narcissism as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that leads me right into my next question. I mean, obviously, that impacted me, right? In ways like I learned that manipulation was how you get what you want and need. And so when a parent is narcissistic or addicted, what are some other ways that can impact an adult child's self-worth and self-respect?
There are so many ways. I can tell you a few. I'll start by saying that I like to say that I was raised by wolves, because I kind of was raised by wolves. My mother was a narcissist class A. She was totally narcissistic. She was quite a piece of work. And it took me a long time to understand what was going on there. I didn't know really how to explain all this to myself until I was well into my adult years.
Hmm.
My father was a gambler, and he liked poker and things like that, and that ripped the family apart. And he also liked women, so he was having affairs outside of the marriage, and my brother and I didn't stand a chance. I think we tried to get our needs met whatever way we could. From the outside, my family looked like, wow, two educators, two people who are really making a difference in the world. People would tell me, oh, you should be so happy that she's your mother. And I would say in my head, you don't live with her,
Hmm.
you know.
Oh, I do know.
So the way that it really affects adult children, and younger children, is that we aren't getting our needs met. And this is a real problem. We aren't getting our needs met. So we're trying the best we can to get our needs met everywhere else we can get it, and trying to manipulate our parents as well. We want our situation to be different than it is.
Hmm.
And so if you look at something like the serenity prayer, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I didn't know anything about that. I thought if I tried hard enough, I could change it.
Yes.
The courage to change the things I could, I didn't know about that either, and instead became an addict
Hmm.
in my life, and very sick in my life. So, you know, I think the most important way is around trust in terms of how it affects children,
Hmm.
how um, we have to get to know ourselves maybe for the first time. Sometimes as adults, if we're lucky, we get to know ourselves as children, but that hardly ever happens.
Hmm.
Um, when we can when we can understand this is to me is one of the most important parts of this is that what happened to us as the children of narcissists, what happened to us was never about us. We didn't do it. We didn't make it happen. It wasn't about us.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really understand that until we're older, most people. And
Yeah.
some older people never understand it at all. And that's a very hard way to live because you keep trying to tell the world, trying to tell everybody, I'm okay, I'm a good person, I really am, you know, and you know, and you are a good person. You're in a really bad situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really, I love that you're addressing this because it is really important, and it is one of the things that I needed to learn on my journey, that it wasn't my responsibility what happened, and that I don't have control over other people. And I think that's where that manipulation part came into um my ways of operating when I was younger, and of course into my adulthood until I started doing some real serious inner work and inner reflection,
Yeah.
recognizing what I have control over and what I don't. But also, like you said, spending time and getting to know yourself. And so that was hard for me because there's a part of me that knew on some level that manipulation was wrong. And when I really recognized it in myself, I felt a lot of shame, and embarrassment.
Yeah.
And that also led me to the next step, was like, oh, well, I could choose not to do that. I could change and I could be different and I can operate differently. But that really did, I think, affect my self-esteem, self-respect for a long time. But I want to ask you about that. Is there a difference between self-esteem and self-respect?
I think there's an amazing difference between self esteem and self respect. Self esteem, a lot of people use those words interchangeably, but I think they're very different things. So when you're talking about self esteem, you're talking about from the outside in. Like when you say to me, oh, I like your hair. Your hair looks nice today. Or I like your blouse. Or you did really good at being interviewed. You did a good interview today. If I don't have the self esteem, the self respect to manage it, I could very easily go to a place of what? She's crazy. She thinks my hair looks good today. She didn't see it in the morning. She should see me in the morning. And then I go into this place of, you can't be right about that because I don't have the self respect to believe that about myself. I don't have the self respect to believe that I'm doing okay in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me I'm doing okay in my life, but that's not enough. It just isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that. We all understand that. Now, having you tell me that you like my hair or you like my blouse, those are nice things to hear. So keep them coming. They're nice.
Uh-huh.
But self respect is what matters. Self respect is from the inside out. So I know my hair, and sometimes it looks nice and sometimes it doesn't. And it's really okay if you like it, and it's okay if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with it the way it is. I can look in the mirror and I can see someone whose hair is fine. You know,
Yeah.
it just is. And that's having self respect.
Mm-hmm.
That being able to find those things about yourself, that you can you can like. about yourself. I don't want to be talking about self-love because I think that's too big of a jump. That's like trying to jump over a house.
Yeah.
It's too big.
Hmm.
But self-like, and if people could find maybe two or three things about themselves that they can like or that they can start to like, that's how we develop our self-respect. Now, I just want to say one more thing about that. I have lived without self-respect for a long time.
Hmm.
Many, 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 I'm old, so many, many, many years without feeling that I knew myself, I liked myself, I was fine the way I was. I
Hmm.
lived without that for a long time. It's hard to be the child of narcissism and have self-respect.
Hmm.
That's one of the hardest things to do.
Hmm.
I have my self-respect now because I know what it is. I know how to develop it in myself. If I'm not feeling it someday, that's okay. I can tell myself some good things and get myself feeling up again,
Hmm.
you know. But I have it now, and nobody is ever going to take it away from me because it's mine and I've worked hard for it, and we should all have it.
Hmm.
We all need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I ask your listeners to just be okay with my voice today. It's kind of going in and out. It's fine. I'm fine. But self-respect is the most important thing we either have or don't have. And when we come from the families we came from, where we were programmed, we were taught to not have self-respect. We didn't get much self-esteem either. We
Hmm.
didn't get much of that.
Yeah.
So we have to start from looking at how we can build that self-respect up.
Hmm.
And it's hard work, but I don't know of any better work to do.
Yeah. I agree, Candace. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we were talking before I hit record a little bit about, about that, about what's possible when you really do cultivate that self-respect and you really stand for it and you really protect it and stand by it and live it in your day-to-day choices. It well, completely changed my life. I'm sure it completely changed your life.
Yeah. And being willing to accept those consequences of our choices, what you're talking about right now, making making sure that we will accept the consequences of our lives, that we will accept that. That's self respect.
Hmm.
I'm not going to blame this on anybody else. You know, my mother was a piece of work, but I had my stuff that I did too,
Hmm.
right? So we just need to be able to accept ourselves, the good, the bad, the ugly sometimes. I
Hmm.
love Oprah talks about the ugly cry, to have the ugly cry. I've had so many ugly cries,
Yeah.
but they're so good to have.
Mhm.
And, it's while you're having them, you feel like you're never going to stop crying. You're never going to stop. But I always do stop. And I almost always feel better afterwards.
Hmm.
And I can be gentle with myself. It's okay. It's okay.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's interesting, your summit is based on trust right now. That's the So
Hmm.
self trust is where it's at. It's not so much trusting of the other person that might be in your life. It's about trusting yourself It's about knowing. Self-respect is about knowing that you can take care of whatever happens. If
Yeah.
something happens to me, I will deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And to have people in my life who will help me is a godsend.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not there, am I going to be okay? Yes, today I will be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Self-trust, self-respect, self-like, it all starts with the self. And we need to get to know ourselves
Mm-hmm.
as the loved ones of narcissists, addicts. We need to get to know ourselves and be as healthy as we possibly can with clear, consistent, self-respecting boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. I can't agree more. So you've shared a lot of things, a lot of ways on how we can start to begin to reclaim that self-respect. You mentioned finding a few things about ourselves that we like and we talked about being able to grieve and have those ugly cries and getting to know who we are. And you also mentioned boundaries. So I'm for people who are watching and I wasn't going to ask you this question, but I am going to ask because you mentioned it.
Uh-oh.
A lot of people, well, a lot of people struggle with boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And so we hear that we're supposed to set boundaries, but maybe we don't really understand what that actually means. So
Yeah.
what does it actually mean to set a boundary and how does that interplay with building self-respect?
Yeah. I think boundaries, what I hear from my clients more than anything else about boundaries is I hear them say, well, I would set boundaries, but I don't want to hurt the person. I don't want to hurt them. And if I set boundaries, it's going to hurt them.
Hmm.
Well, that's true. It's possible that that could hurt somebody if you set a boundary. It depends on how you set boundaries, and it depends on learning how to set them in ways that are respectful to them, to you, you know. Um, but if you're doing it to not hurt the other person, then who are you hurting instead?
Mm,
Most likely you.
yeah.
Most likely you're living with something that you need to say, something that you need to do, some kind of boundary that you need to set, but you're not going to do that because you're just so nice you don't want to hurt the other person. So
Mhm.
you're going to be the one that's hurting. And sometimes that goes on for years and years.
Yeah.
When we say that we don't want to hurt the other person, I can understand that. I don't, I'm a pretty nice person most of the time. I don't know. But if there's a choice between telling you what I need to tell you or not telling you because I'm afraid of your response, then I am protecting myself, not in a good way. I'm protecting myself. I'm not going to set boundaries because that might make you angry, or it might hurt your feelings, or it might do something, make you do in a certain way, make you respond in a certain way.
Hmm.
That's me protecting me. And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's a healthy way of of protecting myself. There are some great ways of protecting myself, and many of them include setting boundaries with other people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have three ways that I teach people. how to set boundaries. Can I just tell them really quickly?
Of course,
One,
please.
one, one is called the assertiveness formula. And that's when you can keep it really simple and you say to somebody, I feel an emotion word. I feel upset. When you tell them what the action is, their behavior, when you speak to me like that, because give a reason, because most women especially are told, don't feel like that. You don't have to feel like that. Well, I'm telling you why I feel like that,
Hmm.
right? And what I need to see is, so I feel when you, because, and what I need to see is,
Hmm.
that's number one.
Hmm.
That's kind of all you got to say. No, the second way is by, um, I like to call it the sandwich technique. And the sandwich technique is kind of like an Oreo cookie when you've got the chocolate and the vanilla and the chocolate.
Hmm.
But the vanilla part, which is always the best part of the Oreo, I think, the, that part of the Oreo is when you give the boundary. When you start with, thank you for sitting down with me. Thank you for hearing that I have something that I need to say to you. I really appreciate that. So that's positive. Then you get into the negative. I just need to tell you that whatever your boundary is,
Hmm.
when you go out and you don't come home until midnight and I'm worried and I can't sleep, and, you know, that's the negative part of the boundary.
Hmm.
And then you thank them again for sitting down with you. You give them something positive at the end. So it's positive, negative, positive,
Hmm.
which means that the next time you ask them to sit down with you, they'll be more than happy to.
Hmm.
And this whole thing probably won't hurt their feelings because they know they should come in before midnight. They already know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the third way is, I call it training a puppy. Most people have had puppies or kittens, but kittens are a different situation. You have to train a puppy.
Hmm.
If you don't train a puppy to pee where outside, to scratch the door and go outside, he's going to pee in the house, right? So you've got to teach the puppy that he needs to go out when he has to pee. You have to train the puppy that it's not okay to eat your socks, that
Hmm.
it's not okay to chew on your slippers.
Hmm.
We have to do that work with people. That's setting boundaries. But puppies, especially, dogs love to please us. They want to please us. They live to please us. And so if you can be good to your puppy and teach him with love, caring, teach him what he can do and what he can't do, he will learn that. And so will the person in your life that you need to set the boundary with.
Hmm.
I can tell you that in my life today, it hasn't always been this way. In my life today, I hardly ever need to set boundaries with anybody because they know I'm going to set them. And most people don't like getting them. I don't like getting them from somebody else either,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is important. It is important to teach people how to treat you because I think,
Yes.
when we accept or allow people to mistreat us, that we're training them to do that.
Yeah, well, that's then we're allowing them to chew up our slippers.
Right.
And if we're going to allow somebody to chew up our slippers, expect your slippers to be chewed up.
Right.
If you're not going to set the boundary and you're not going to tell the person, you don't get to eat my slippers,
Yes.
then expect them to be eaten.
Right. Right. And that, that kind of brings us back around to like, really taking responsibility for our choices. And
Yes.
um, so we're in charge of our choices. We have opportunities every day to make choices. thinking about getting to know yourself, what, what are the choices that are aligned with your values, with what's important to you, what matters the most, and, practicing that consistently over time. I
How do
mean,
you how do you want to show up in the world?
yes.
Your boundaries have to be consistent with that.
Mhm. I agree.
That's what I'm hearing you say, and I totally agree.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it was through the practice of doing that for me, Candace, over and over and over again, that I started to notice that I was beginning to grow self-respect inside of me because I wasn't letting
Yay!
myself down anymore. I was
Because
respecting myself.
the most important person to not let you down is you. It's really hard when we're letting ourselves down. We know we're doing it. We know we're doing it. And most of the time we don't know what else to do because we haven't gotten all the information about, you know, about self-respect and how to grow that. We just, but we know inside something is wrong.
Mhm.
Something is wrong, and
Yeah,
I need some help to fix it.
yeah, yeah. And we all need help sometimes. So thank goodness, there are people like you and me and all of the other experts on our panel who are out there helping people learning these things. And you have a free gift to offer our viewers today, Candace. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, can you read it out? Do you have it in front of you?
Yes, I
It's
do. So it's called Narcissism, Addiction, and Manipulation: How to Maintain Your Self-Respect.
yeah, which is just exactly what we've been talking about today. Um, and it's there's a couple of pages of education material, of information for you, and then there's a PDF that you can fill in. So there's questions that it asks you so that you can fill that in and kind of get a sense of maybe what it is you need to work on. Maybe you've already done a lot of work on this, and maybe there's still just a little left. And you've answered the questions, or if you're just starting to hear about self-respect, and you want more of it, because believe me, once you get a taste of it, you're going to want more of it. um, yeah, so you'll have those questions in front of you, which can lead you to discovering who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And as a counselor, as a therapist, I believe that it's my job to help people understand themselves better. That's really what counseling is about. It's not about me telling you what you should do, or you know it's not about that. It's about, so what is this like for you? What pieces of this do you want to change? How can you measure up to that person that you want to be in the world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
Uh,
very important and empowering questions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And i
Well,
think i think i think counselors who have counselors are the best counselors.
well, yeah, because we all need somebody to help us see the things that we don't see because we all have our blind spots.
Yep. Especially if we're raised by narcissists.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
raised by people who try to make us see that there's something very wrong with us
Hmm.
because it makes them feel better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
that's a very hard way to live. Yeah.
it is. Yeah. Well, and it
Yeah.
also helps them, it helps them manipulate us too better.
Yeah.
So thank you, Candace, for this very valuable gift. So I want to encourage everybody who's here today to click on that link so that you can get your narcissism, addiction, and manipulation, how to maintain your self-respect PDF from Candace, and also, get more information about Candace and what she's doing in the world and how she can support you on your journey. And Candace, once again, thank you so much for being here today, for sharing your time, your expertise, your wisdom with us. I'm just really grateful always to have you on the Trusting After Trauma Summit.
Well, thank you so much for asking me. This was great. This was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to thank everybody else who is here and joining us for Trusting After Trauma Season 9. We hope that you
Wow.
enjoy this journey with our experts and on how we can redefine relationships after parental narcissistic abuse and how we can heal our body, mind, and spirit to live joyful, authentic lives.